Today's topic is going to be about shiny, happy teeth. So, if you'd like to know, is there a kind of a way to kind of improve the dynamics of your mouth and its oral hygiene? Stay on. Okay. Strong and shiny teeth are something really nice to have. It's kind of attractive. Okay. But what is more important is that if your teeth are not, your gums are not healthy, it can affect your heart health too. Okay. Oh, does it really happen? Is this something that am I making sense? Well, let's find out. So here's the problem. When your gums are weak, what happens is the bacteria can actually slip through that barrier and it can get into your bloodstream. So, well, that's fine. It leaks into your bloodstream. Of course, the body is good enough to handle and destroy a lot of the bacteria, but the bacteria are real smart. So what they actually do, there's a lot of calcium that floats in your blood. And what happens is the bacteria goes and attaches itself to that. Now, if you haven't seen another previous video of mine, I talk about how to defeat this problem from happening, where you have a lot of calcium floating in your blood, and you want to get that out of your blood. So there are ways to do that. But anyway, you can go back and see some of my previous videos where I talk about this. But anyway, the point is that they latch onto this and they starts to build up, and these guys start to attach itself to your vein walls. Okay, it becomes a sticky, sludgy kind of a thing, and this is what starts to clog your arteries. So this can build up plaque over time, and it will stick to, and it is this what they call the bad cholesterol. Okay, they kind of act as a catalyst, and they kind of get together, and it becomes a little mess out there. Okay, and of course, like I said, there's a way to kind of get this off. You can reverse a part of it, and that's another video that I did earlier. I'm sure if you recall it, this is something that you can actually put in your regime. Okay. Now there's a lot of toothpaste out there. Now, while we try to use as natural as possible and we try to avoid chemicals, the unfortunate part is that even some of the herbal ones and a lot of them cause more damage. Even though they look natural, uh, they're actually not suitable for actually how the tooth really works. Okay. So herbs like clove, and a lot of these herbal toothpaste will throw clove in because it gives a natural kind of a good aroma, and it removes foul smell from your mouth. And people use this and they put that in the toothpaste. But unfortunately, it really affects the mineralization of your tooth. Your tooth is made of a lot of minerals, and especially your enamel is the biggest defense for your tooth. It starts to eat away at that. So even baking soda is a good cleaning agent, but it is really disastrous for your enamel. It takes off a lot of it. So your enamel starts breaking down and makes the situation even more worse. Okay. Um, you'd also find that these whitening toothpaste is something that you should absolutely avoid, because they clean out not just the stains, they clean out a lot of the enamel too. It demineralizes the tooth, and it has a lot of weird effects. So just anything that says whitening, whether it's a toothpaste, mouthwash, or whatever you call it, just avoid it. Just take it off your plate. Don't ever use it. It does more damage than good. You might get some great results initially and it look kind of good, but there's a better way to go about it, which is a lot more safer. So even if you go to your dentist, you know, the dentist cleaning can also wear out a lot of your enamel. So it's not good to keep going to the dentist and getting cleaned, because a lot of that stuff is also, a lot of your enamel is getting eroded there as well. So um, what do? Right? So what really happens to your teeth over time is, as you can see in the diagram over here, you can see that the gum starts to recede. Okay, and it just happens because of the things that we eat and the habits that we have. The gum starts to recede and it exposes a part of the tooth that does not have enamel. Now, when that happens, is a lot of things start to seep through into the tooth. It affects the tooth chemistry, and it also starts to, it cannot handle the harsh environment of the food and the things that you consume. It cannot handle that, so it starts to get weaker and weaker, and it's kind of vicious cycle. The gums start to recede more and more, and it overall, kind of disturbs the entire uh, smooth operation of the mouth. So there's also saliva, which is also important. It's an element that keeps going through your mouth that actually helps protect your teeth. It helps to maintain a balance of your minerals in your teeth as well, and also attacks a lot of bacteria. So if you have a dry mouth, this can add to the problem. So a lot of teeth problem also happen because you have an extensively dry mouth, and there are ways where you can actually overcome this dry mouth problem, and it's another topic altogether. But you can definitely go and find out how to address something like having a dry mouth. So our food intake is extremely important to the composition of our saliva. If we don't have the right kind of food, we're not going to be able to give the body the nutrients it requires. And so you can see that how this entire program that you've been following is silently affecting even something like this. Yeah. So that's a good thing. So that's one bonus you've also got today, without knowing, I guess. So what can we do about it? Is there a kind of a regime to follow? Now, like I said, everything that I tell you, I'm the guinea pig first. Okay. And I've gone through this regime. It's been about a good 3 weeks now. And I love everything to do. And, everything has to happen in 3 weeks for me to get to see if there's any significant result. And trust me, the results have been great for me, but it can vary from person to person. So the idea what is in this entire regime is that you need to do a pre-rinse before you get into your brushing regime. You have to do a pre-rinse. Okay. And um, what happens actually is when you eat food, there's a lot of acidity that is created with the food. Like you may eat citrus fruits, or there may be other things, acidic food, like maybe red chilies and spices and things that actually add to the acidity in your mouth. Now, the thing about chlorine dioxide, typically an element like this, kind of regulates the acidity so that it creates a better kind of an effective way to not really harm your teeth. Okay. It's a whole science behind it. Uh, beyond the scope of this meeting, I don't want to get into biochemistry, but there are two items that I suggest. One is closis, which is very popular in the Western world. You do get it here, but it's mind-bogglingly a little expensive. So there is a company in India that makes something quite equivalent, and it's called Fresh Chlor. Okay, and it's not extremely cheap, but it's something that you can use. So all you do is, as soon as you start, you just take about 10 ml of this and you put it into your mouth, and no rinsing. You just keep it in your mouth, just engulf your entire, your teeth. And if there's something where you think, probably, I think I need a little more in this area, like on the front of my teeth, or maybe a molar, you kind of move your head so that liquid just kind of, don't gargle, just to keep it there for exactly 30 seconds. Okay, not a second more and not a second less. Okay. And just wait that 30 seconds. It didn't take long. And after you've done that, just spit it out and rinse. Have to rinse. Okay. Just rinse with water. And then you start your brushing. Okay. Now, it's better to use, and nowadays people move towards toothpaste that can help rebuild the minerals in the tooth. Okay. And a lot of them do contain fluorides because they also strengthen the teeth. Now, the only thing that you have to be very careful about is that you don't swallow this, and yeah, don't drink it down. So after you've actually gone through this thing, you should rinse properly so that you got no remnants of the toothpaste floating around that gets into, in large volumes into your gullet and that you absorb. Okay. Now, very popular in the Western world is the Crest. Only this particular brand, Crest, and anti-cavity only. Okay. If you can get a hold of it, if somebody's coming in, one of your buddies, definitely get this. And it should be only the anti-cavity one. Okay. Uh, you do get it here, and of course, you pay an arm and a leg for it, when it should be a lot cheaper. But there's something very similar which is available in India. It's called Amflor. Okay. You'll find it on Amazon. You'll find it on 1 mg. In fact, 1 mg is probably a lot cheaper. And you have to use just about a half a toothbrush of this. Okay. And now when you're actually using your toothbrush, use a hard one. Don't use the soft ones. The soft ones are totally useless, especially when it comes to the regime that we have to follow here. Okay. Medium, if you can. Okay. If you can't get hard, medium. But hard is preferable because it has to be firm. Now, what you actually do here is, here's the whole idea. You don't attack the teeth, you attack the gums first. Okay. And how do you do that? Uh, Take the brush, put it onto the gum, and move it in an upward circular direction. So what you're doing is you're trying to push the gum upward. Okay. And you slowly move across, all the way left, right, and do the same thing for the top. Don't literally attack your teeth. If you're at the bottom of your teeth where it touches the gum and the gum completely, this is where you want to go. And you keep moving a circular direction. Now, it may be difficult to brush the gum where it is in the front of the mouth, because in some places, very little gap. Um, you can try and find a smaller toothbrush if you think, or you use a little finger, but make sure you've kind of cleaned your finger nicely and do the massage. Okay. And don't do it quickly. Do it in a nice, soft circle. Be passionate about it. Don't be in a hurry to finish off with it. Go through it nicely, and it's going to feel weird the first few days, because this is something that you don't regularly do. And when you actually do that, uh, this kind of helps you out. Okay. So after you've done that, you'll have a little bit of what you call extra paste that's lying around. Use that to actually eh, use that actually to brush your teeth. Okay. So that's it. And whatever that remnant is, I do your up and down and do your circular motion on the teeth, brush all across, and all of that stuff you do. But rinse after that, because remember, it's kind of a fluoride-based toothpaste, so you have to get that out. So just rinse that out and move it. Now, what happens actually is the enamel is actually supposed to have a good kind of reflective index. So when the tooth is healthy, the reflective index of your tooth starts to get better. And so the first thing that you start to notice when you do this is that your tooth is starting to reflect more light. You'll definitely know. You know what a dull object looks like, and you know what a shiny, like something like glass when it's clean. How does it look? It looks kind of a little more shiny. So that reflective index will start to improve. Okay. It has improved for me. I don't know if you guys are able to notice. Maybe my camera size is too small at the moment. Okay. And after rinsing, what you do is you have to finish off with the mouthwash. Now you can go with the good old Listerine and only these two, the original one and Cool Mint. Nothing else. Don't do this anti-cavity, saves your gums. They don't get any of these preparations. Now, if that's too harsh and you find that's too burny, there is another mouthwash called ACT, anti-cavity mouthwash, and only anti-cavity. Okay. And this is something, if you can get a hold of, this is something you can carry. So even if you're on a train or you're on a plane journey, this is something you can actually depend on. Okay. And it's a great thing to use. Okay. Now, these are antiseptic because you're going to fight off this clinging bacteria. Okay. Your gums are going to be weak initially, and you still have to, kill off whatever bacteria is kind of in the border. You still have to use this. So, advised to you to use a mouthwash like this. If you find that the Listerine is too strong, then what you can do is dilute it with a little water, so that you don't get too much of a burning sensation, and try to improve the concentration as you go forward. Okay. And during the day, which I've not put in the slide actually, is that there is a chewing gum which is called Happy Dent. Okay. And Happy Dent has a particular chemical in it. And of course, yeah, I know, I'm sure. Sorry, a lot of these are medicinal chemicals. And they actually also help maintain the strength of the fighting strength of the tooth. So if you do get a chance to buy one of those Happy Dent chewing gums, uh, do keep a stock of it. And especially if you're going to be watching a movie or you're going to be sitting on a train journey where you tend not to talk too much, okay, and you don't talk and you don't move your mouth, there's less saliva moving around. uh, it's good to use this and keep it in your mouth for some time. You don't have to chew it the whole day, but keep it there. Like maybe chew it for probably an hour, I guess. I don't know how long it takes, how long you get fed up of chewing gum. But this is something that I recommend that you do. It will definitely keep your general hygiene of your tooth, and will keep your mouth kind of more salivated, so that you have a more larger protection and larger action throughout the day. And try this out for about 3 days. Like I said, in a few days, probably 3 days, you'll start to notice a visible difference. Okay. And in a few weeks, what happens is you'll start to see the truth is actually reflecting light. Okay. And maybe about even the first, second week, you'll start to see, oh, there's a kind of a shimmer. And what you'll also find is that when you run your tongue across your tooth, you'll find that it's a little smoother. It's not getting stuck like it used to. You don't find the kind of the graininess on the tooth. It starts to get more and more smooth and slippery. So that means you know what's happening. And in a few months, a lot of the stains disappear. And people who use very harsh things like tobacco, coffee, and things like that, those stains will start to become lower. And these are some things even a dentist may not be able to get to. Right deep in the gap of your tooth, sometimes, unless they do a very aggressive kind of cleaning, it doesn't come out. And you'll start to see that that's going to slowly start to come down. So now, in a few months, that'll start to improve. And when you start seeing improvement, what happens? You get encouraged. And when you get encouraged, you become a follower of that habit. And that habit is something that you will never forget because you've actually seen the results. So I do hope you found this video um, useful, and hope you'll be able to come back and see what are the stuff that the formulas and the steps that you have to do to get to this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And remember, the last laugh, the last smile also is to follow the dynamic vitality model. So I open the floor to everyone for any questions and anything you'd like to know.